All right, welcome everyone to Speak Highly. I am with my bro Shamayim. My name is Tarik Sparks. This show is a crossroads between cannabis, food, photography, creativity, culture, and today, my one of my great friends started as a mentor. Um, Actually, almost started as like a dream because on Instagram you don't even know if people are doing are real, and then to come to find out that it was real, and then a little more accessible, and then like when you have some money and things are accessible, you try to chase the dream, and that vision of what I wanted to do in my life was who we're going to sit down and talk with today. This is a great friend of mine named Shemaim. This man, we have traveled all over the world. He definitely showcases people that look like us in the best light possible and wants to make sure that it's not only important but necessary. But I ain't going to take too much of this man's time. I'm going to let him introduce and say more. And go ahead, brother, introduce yourself.
Well, grateful to be here, and I'm grateful that you're even starting this platform. As like I said, I encourage you to do everything that I feel like you've been inspired to do, brother. There's no limits on any of this. My life mantra is live legendary, and it's not just for me. I feel like that's just part of my soul's journey is to promote that for everyone, especially Black men. And I have to specifically point out to live legendary for Black men because so many of us have a fear of our own greatness. And so I want to be a living testimony to that, that once you discover what your life's calling is, what your soul's journey is, it is your duty as a soul, as a human being, and specifically as a man to go forth and live that through. Because to not is an injustice, not just to yourself, to your family and your lineage, but also it's an injustice to the world as a whole. Because every one of us, well, me personally, I feel like every one of us, our calling is just a brick in the foundation of creation, and the building is unstable without your brick. So that's why I encourage everyone to live legendary. I've been a professional fashion photographer for 20 years as of this year. I'm very proud of that.
Wow.
Um, I've endured, most importantly, I feel like I've endured the self-sabotage that most creatives and artists go through. Once I hit that 10-year mark and I was actually able to start seeing the financial fruits of the devotion. Um, then it started to make a little bit more sense to everybody else, but it made sense to me from day one. Like I said, I believe in living legendary, and that comes from me being unrelentless with my pursuit of living my soul's journey.
Man, so great to hear it in fullness, because a lot of times when we talk, it's, blips in time. So to hear that, or to be reminded that it's been 20 years, I think now we've known each other for like seven. So,
Yeah,
to only see a portion of it when it's like, man, like how long has this guy been doing this? So that's really great to put in perspective. Who was the first person to even put the idea that photography could be a career path? Like, was someone in your life that was around you that was doing photography? For me, my grandmother gave me her camera, and then I started doing photography. But where did it start with you?
that's interesting. There was not a person that pointed out photography to me. But it's been there. I just discovered when I've been working on my memoir, I've discovered that it's been there the whole time though. I have albums and albums and albums of my life just photographed from day one all the way up until like right now. My whole life has been documented in photos. So I have, I guess, since when I was like, I started about around age 10, I started taking the photos that ended up in my photo albums. And I didn't think from terms of a photographer, I was just documenting everything. I don't understand why I was like that, but when it's your soul's journey, you know back then, and then you start to convince yourself out of it. But I've always been photographing beautiful women, all the whoever were the hottest girls in my school, from middle school all the way up, I was in their face. Um, my brother, who's my cousin, DeCoven Jones, love him dearly. He's been there the whole time. That's my brother. He'll tell you my first camera was a Kodak Easy Share camera that I bought from Eckert's Pharmacy. It was $19.99 at the time. We used to do the 1 hour photo development, but
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was it. Like I used to carry those disposable cameras with me everywhere. Like, but that was the 90s. Back then kids would see me with the camera and they knew that I was that person that was always taking the pictures and documenting everything. But it was really just to take pictures of myself and my homies with like the prettiest girls. And then my homies and we, it was a gang. I ain't even gonna front y'all. We were in a gang. And so we were always
Life.
like with like our bandanas and our colors, our flags, and we thought we were the flyest things ever. It was black and red, everything. So we had the girls, the prettiest girls in the school. We would dress them in like our gang paraphernalia, and I would take pictures of them. So my first photographs are of like my homies and our girlfriend from like high school dressed in our gang paraphernalia. It was horrible photographs. It was literally nobody was even thinking about being a photographer. But like the girls, like they took it serious, like they were modeling, like they were like posed all on the chairs and everything. We were just having fun with it, but that's literally where the seeds of creation come from when you're still in that child state, and you can't tell a teenager that they're in a child state. They swear they're so grown, but we were kids. We know what we were doing, so
Yeah.
there was no rules. And so by the time I left high school, I still wasn't thinking in the terms of a photographer. I went to university for business. I was just devoted to being rich. Like I didn't care. It wasn't like on no art stuff. I actually went to university to get my business degree, which I did. But I wanted to own nightclubs. I
Okay.
wanted to own like the biggest, baddest nightclub in Atlanta, Georgia, and I had the plan all laid out, man. I was gonna work at all the top nightclubs in college, graduate, have the capital, get the capital, open my own. It was gonna be like the biggest thing in the A, and Destiny's Child was gonna come, and they were gonna sit in my VIP section, and I just knew I was gonna come out. I was gonna be fly. I was gonna match to Beyonce. I was gonna marry Beyonce, and that was gonna be it. Universe is like, I could care less about your plans. Here's some other stuff I got for you. So, ended out one of my goats. Jigga ended up marrying Beyonce, and I did not go that route. I actually
Right.
got the hell out of Atlanta, Georgia, because my dreams just could not come into fruition there. But in university, I did take a film photography class, and I did it as an elective because I was there for business. And when I first heard that click, that mechanical click,
Yeah.
I don't even know what it was. It just did something inside of me. It was like it woke up something, and I was like,
Yeah.
that sounds sexy. And so I just took that camera and that film camera that I had for class, and I had my girlfriend at the time who was an amateur model, but she was like really into fashion, like extremely into fashion. I knew her since high school, and back in even in high school, she was wearing the brands that we couldn't pronounce. We were just like, we knew she was dressed dope. Her name's Tiffany Keys. I always got to give her praise because there really is no me as a fashion photographer without this woman. And most young men, when we grow up, it's a woman that is that stimuli that makes
Yeah.
us grow up. But I'll never forget, man. For my one of my birthdays, she bought me two things. One was a sweatshirt, and it had like my gang name, the colors on it. It was just like, yo, I'm respecting where you are right now. But the second gift was a gift of Yves Saint Laurent M7 cologne. I was highly disappointed. I was just like, what is this? Like, I didn't say this to her. Like, I'm not that kind of guy. But in my head, I'm like, what is this? I
Yeah.
didn't even like the smell of it. It was like weird. It was like I wanted. I wanted that teenage boy cologne. I wanted CK1 that everybody else was wearing. I wanted Crush. I think it was called Crush, something like that. Like,
The axe spray, if they were using that then.
yeah, we had the axe, and we thought that was fly because I had the chocolate one because it came in the black on black.
Right,
But
right. I remember that.
and she told me, she was like, no, this one is for who you are becoming. She was like, you're gonna wear this cologne to business meetings.
Hmm.
You're gonna wear this cologne to sign contracts.
Okay.
To this day, when it's time to sign a contract, I wear Yves Saint Laurent M7. She was absolutely correct.
Hmm.
And she was a model at the time, and like I said, she knew all the designers. She's the one who converted me from what I thought was fashion to what was actually real fashion. Not
Right.
to say what a young black teenage boy down south considered fashion wasn't fashion, because it was to us, but she matured me. I
Right.
was thinking like Fat Farm, Fubu, Pele Pele, like all that urban stuff was fashion, and she was like, no. So she
There's levels to
introduced
this.
me. I wasn't even on the board, man. I was sitting up there wanting her to rock the Fat Farm jeans, and I didn't know that she was wearing Givenchy. Like I was just like, where you getting all these crazy white people names from? I was
Right.
just
Yeah.
like, cause my mind, I was just like, well, we wear black everything here. I didn't know that it was white people who were owning the urban brands back then. But hey, you live and you learn. But anyway, she schooled me to a lot of things about fashion, and she matured my eye to what fashion photography was. Because in college, when I'm messing around with this film camera, learning it, and to me at that time, like my influence was Hype Williams.
Okay.
Hype Williams was like everything to me. Like
Yeah.
how I see Gordon Parks now is how I saw Hype Williams then.
Yeah.
My fashion magazines were King magazine, Black Men magazine, Smooth magazine. These were like the GQ but for black men.
Hmm.
Like our models weren't Cindy Crawford and Naomi. Ours were Melissa Ford and hell, I can't even remember Ashanti, Maya. Like, and those magazines had the black women,
Right.
not the Vogues. So I grew up with that urban eye, but Tiffany matured my eye to be like, all right, but I want a model. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't want you in my kind of magazines. I don't want my girlfriend in the, King magazine. And she was just like, well, that's the only option that we have as black women. And I was like, that's crazy. So I
Hmm.
go and open up a Vogue magazine. Once again, it's just like early 2000s.
Yeah.
And there's literally nobody in there but Tyra Banks, Naomi Campbell, and maybe a couple of other sprinkled black women, maybe.
Yeah.
And I was
Like
just like,
Pepper.
this
Like.
is crazy. And then, so I'm looking, I'm like, I don't understand. Like all these white women in these magazines look the same.
Hmm.
And I don't mean that as no diss to any other culture. It's just once you're in your culture, you recognize the differences between your people.
Right.
Everybody else kind of starts looking homogenized. And I had to really start to look at like why do they consider these women to be beautiful? And I'm not saying that they weren't beautiful because God knows Cindy Crawford is gorgeous.
My name is Tarik Sparks. I am a food photographer and cannabis educator. I've built the Hidden Creation Starter System to help you cook, shoot, and monetize your skills today. First step, grab that free guide in the link. If you're serious, Starter System will take it the rest of the way.
you know? But I needed to understand why they were celebrated, but our women got regulated to the black men magazines. And
Yeah.
so that just began a journey. And from that journey, it took me to a spiritual journey. And that spiritual journey led me. So I started that in 2000. I became a fashion photographer in 2005.
Okay, wait. Before we go too far, before we go
I
further,
want to get to where the weed is, though. That's why
I'm
I'm
gonna get
jumping.
there. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there. I'm
All
gonna
right.
get there. I'm gonna get there. So we could definitely say that growing up in Atlanta helped shaped you into the fashion photographer. And if she wasn't even there at that
I
location,
cannot say that.
no. Okay.
I cannot say that. And that's no disrespect to my hometown.
Okay.
But Atlanta did have very little to do with molding me into a fashion photographer. I
Okay.
believe that Atlanta, she could have been anywhere. Tiffany, I could have ran into her anywhere had I been born anywhere,
Right. True.
and I
True.
would have still had the same effect. So that's why I say that Atlanta did not have effect on my matriculation as a fashion photographer. I will give it its credit that it made me have to become more creative because I did not have opportunities readily available to me. I did not have
Okay.
mentorship opportunities because there were no fashion photographers in Atlanta at that time. They had the same background I did. So
Hmm.
they went the direction like the older photographers were shooting like the glam stuff, the sexy stuff. That's not the direction that I wanted to go in. So I didn't could not develop me there. So I tell photographers this all the time. You're going to have to leave Smallville if you want to be a professional fashion photographer and make money. You could be a great, successful, artistic fashion photographer anywhere in the world because of the internet. But if you're going to make money doing it, you're going to leave Smallville. You have to leave Smallville
Yeah.
because Smallville can't afford you. And you're going to learn that really, really quick when you have to continue to keep that 9 to 5 job delivering boxes for Amazon and then doing the photography thing on the side. And then you're going to be resentful, and then you're going to become bitter, and then that's just that's hell. You created hell for yourself
Mm. Right. Okay. Okay. So Atlanta didn't shape you. You just
as a
happened to be in
photographer,
Atlanta as a photographer,
right?
specifically as a photographer. Atlanta didn't shape you. You could have met this girl. What was her name one more time?
Tiffany.
You could have met Tiffany anywhere. It just so happened to be in Atlanta. But
Now, I
did
don't
a
believe in coincidence. I'm just saying that Atlanta did not matriculate me as a fashion photographer. I give that credit to other places. Atlanta helped shape my foundation that I needed to survive successfully in the market, though, because my
okay.
Southern background gave me manners that have taken me far.
Right, yeah. That'll do that.
My Southern roots have gave me that no nonsense. We don't stand for that goofiness that like people because when they hear a Southern accent, they automatically think that you're slow. They think that you're stupid, especially in New York. So going from Atlanta to New York, I had to deal with that, you know? And but when you come from the deep South, like you get we fought growing up,
Hmm.
you know? The weird stuff that's normal in LA and New York, we didn't have that down south. So coming to New York and seeing men act a certain kind of way, I'm not gonna say what that way is, it's goofy to us. So I was able to keep a distance from a whole lot of foolishness because
Yeah.
of my southern discernment that I had. So Atlanta gave me the foundations of personality traits that I feel like helped take me pretty far as a
Okay.
fashion photographer. And but that would have gone for any direction I would have gone in, not
Okay.
specifically as a photographer though.
Okay. Okay. Let me see. Make sure. Um. Okay. So you are actually here. It's a little different. So you are only two of my mentors, and my first mentor in photography was actually my track coach, and then you would definitely were my mentor when I was trying to find out where I wanted to go outside of food photography. So what did it feel like when you took that leap? And I'm not sure if that is from leaving from Atlanta to New York, but what did it feel like when you were like, okay, I'm doing this?
Um, I cut my safety net off year one. I don't recommend that.
Yeah, I've learned.
I have to say that because a lot of times my students think that that's the route that they should take. No, that's just the route that Shamayim chose to take, and it was a very difficult route to take. I would had I could I go back 20 years, I would not have cut that safety net off. That was just young me talking, and it was very cocky. Um, but that also is because I was coming from a market like Atlanta, um, where you're a big fish in a very, very small pond. So that small pond of Atlanta really hyped me up to think that I was really something special.
Yeah.
I was special, but not, I was nowhere near as good as my ego was inflated at that time because Atlanta was just like, oh, you're the greatest. They weren't paying me though. So it's like, everybody's going to hype you up because they want free photos.
You're right.
And also, there was nobody specifically trying to shoot fashion in Atlanta at that time. So that that uniqueness is what made me stand out there in that market. But the cockiness made me feel like, all right, I'm too big for this small town. I'm so glad that I had that cockiness, that arrogance, because it made me hit the road. I didn't go directly to New York from Atlanta.
Okay.
I I hit every other market because after that first visit to New York and I saw how expensive it was, I was like, yo, New York is gonna have to call me to come there. And so I took the route of I got in that car and I would drive I mean not 14, I would drive 10 hours south to Miami. I was driving
From
6 hours
Atlanta?
from Atlanta, yes. And driving 6 hours to Orlando. Anywhere that on Model Mayhem that I would come across a girl who actually felt like was a model, I was driving to them. Driving to Houston, driving to Dallas, driving to Louisiana.
Wow.
And so my whole thing was, once again, I went to school for business, for advertising and marketing. So when I chose to be a fashion photographer, my background of advertising and marketing took over. You
Right.
know, so I knew I had to make a brand of myself long before everybody had social media telling them about creating personal brands. I was dropping my average ass looking photos, but my name was this big at the bottom, like huge. Because I was like, I know I have a very unique name. I know that name is going to stand out. So I was just slapping, and I didn't even just put it as a watermark. I had it in a black bold background, and I had it in like a 3D font. It looked like it was embossed. It was like, yo, you're going to know Shemayim. And it worked. It worked. It was cocky and it worked. It got my name out there because I was shooting in all of these different markets because I knew I couldn't just stay stagnant in Atlanta. So I got my
What were you
name
doing
down
for money
south.
though?
I was grinding. I All right. So I would do it like this because I had so many models wanting to work with me. I started doing my expeditions before anything else, but I would
Okay.
do them locally. So I would find really cool, exotic looking places in Georgia. Um, so I knew where this waterfall was in North Georgia, in the North Georgia mountains. And it's still one of my favorite places in the universe. And I would get all the city models together and I would charge them all like at the time like 25 to $50 each. But if you get like 10 of them,
Hmm.
I had just enough to cover like the bills.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I was making just enough to cover the bills, and then I was starting to travel to Miami, so I would take Atlanta models. I would load the car up with like two or three of them, and then I would have them pay me like $200 to travel with me down to Miami. It will cover like the hotels, it will cover the gas. We will go down to Miami and we would shoot. I didn't know any models in Miami, so I was just taking my models from Atlanta, but I was getting paid to do that.
Hmm.
And it just eventually it went from like going to these little local spots to like I still didn't have a passport, so Puerto Rico. I was just like, all right, I'll take a couple months to Puerto Rico. So we went to Puerto Rico for like several years, and that's when I made money. Well, not
Hmm.
money, but it was like enough to like cover rent, to like make sure because I was dating a girl at the time who was in college, take care of her, take care of my mom. My sister had just got a divorce. All of that was on me at one time. So when photographers come to me and they start telling me like, oh, I'm 30. I'm starting a family. I don't know if this photography thing is going to work. I'd be like, go kick rocks and play in traffic, my guy. I'm not the one to complain to. I have no pity for you. Go figure it out. You're a man. Go figure it out.
Yeah.
Because I did not have a secondary job and was taking care of my sister from a divorce, my
Yeah.
girlfriend who did not have a job and was in college, and her dad was on the other side of the country looking at me like, I'm trusting you with my baby. And as
Yeah.
a man, I'm sitting up there like, can't feel, you
Yeah.
know. My mom, she had got a divorce, and she was transitioning from a career to another career, so she didn't even have a job at the time. So come on now, like all of
Yeah.
that, and it's like, so I can't hear my students when they come to me talking about complaints. That's just part of it. I I tell you, you gotta learn how to love it. It's like when you're working out in the gym and you're first starting out and that crap hurts and you're like, why am I doing this to myself? I'm already getting the ladies. Like, why do I have to go and hurt myself? And then you keep at it and you start craving that discomfort. And
Yeah.
when you don't get that discomfort, you know, like, hey, I'm doing something wrong now because it's too comfortable.
Yeah.
That's how it became with me with this, to where you need that pressure. I call it fire under your feet. It's not a god or a devil out there trying to see what you're made of. It's only you. You are that universe that created these circumstances to see, are you about it? Or are you just one of these gassers? Because everybody wants to be a fashion photographer. It's glamorous. We get to travel around the world with beautiful people. We meet the most interesting characters, man. We get paid to do it too. Everybody
Speaking
wants
of
to do that.
speaking of fire,
Yeah,
when did the cannabis come into place as either
much further in the journey.
did it
So I
come in as
tell
a
everybody
courageous
now,
act? Did it come as something like courageous, like, oh,
it
like
came
this
in,
is
it
helping
was
me?
organic, it was natural.
Yeah.
Yes, 2015, my first trip to Jamaica, because everybody looked at me and they think I was born and raised in Jamaica. No, I was adopted by Jamaica, actually. My uncle and aunt were living there. I did my first expedition there. Took a couple, no, I took one model there and two photographers. On the trip, we were shooting on the beach. A Rasta was on the beach. He sees me. He walks over and he was like, Rasta. And I'm like, Rasta? And he was like, you smoke Rasta? And my model looking at me being like, please say yes. Like, please. And I'm at the time, I don't smoke. I never smoked ever in my life, right? So at the time, I'm like, yo, I'm in Jamaica, right?
Yeah.
A Rastafari just asked me if I want to smoke. And I'm all about living legendary. So I'm like, this gonna be my first time. That was my first time. So he took my whole group. We all went up to his uncle's house on the hill. Um, just just shooting past. Long story short, he did a whole ceremony, man. He grew it there. That's one thing I have to say. Like, I'm glad my first experience was actually like organic,
Yeah, it's like ritualistic, if you're getting something.
the right way. I'm so
Yeah.
glad it wasn't some bum passing me a blunt in Brooklyn and like me smoking and being like, this is trash, son. Like, my first experience was holy. We're on the rooftop. I didn't even think this thing was working. He's talking, he's looking at me, and I'm like, yeah, okay. I don't know what everybody's talking about. I think I'm just a spiritual man. I don't even need this stuff. Then all of a sudden, I started seeing fire embers started coming from like the side of the house. And I was like, oh, somebody must be burning some leaves down there.
Okay.
Then the wind
Okay.
started going crazy, right? The wind is blowing crazy. Then it starts raining, but I'm not wet at all. And I'm looking at all the other people and they're not wet either. And I'm like, why are fire embers still coming from the side of the building and it's raining? So then, like, the Rasta looked at me and he was like, now you see Rasta. And then he was like telling me, like, look up. And I'm looking up and the freaking stars start spinning around us. And then I just reach out and I stop them.
That's some
And
different weed, bro.
I was like, oh, this is what I've been missing. Because I'm
That's some
already like, I'm an artist. So I'm thinking, like, yo, I'm mad creative anyway. I don't
okay.
need drugs to be creative. I still don't. But when I tell you, like, they unlock what you locked away.
Hmm.
The drugs aren't giving you, I don't like to call them the medicine, like the weed, like the flower, like it's not giving you anything. It's just unlocking what you already. So I tell people this all the time. if you're a paranoid person, like if you're a fearful person by nature, it's just gonna amplify that for you.
Well, it just depends because you can get different strains that won't amplify it. There's
Sure, I'm still a novice. I call you and ask you about this stuff. I know what feels good to me, and then like I just double down on that. So when people tell me they have bugged out experiences, like I remember a homie, like when I first tried edibles for the first time, like this girl I knew, she worked at this spot in LA and she just was sending me like all these edibles. And I'm like, yo, I don't smoke. I don't do this stuff. Like I
yeah,
smoked once in Jamaica. Like you, she's like, just try these, Shamayim. You're gonna like them. So another videographer who I used to be really, really cool. His name was John London. Homie was like, yo, you may not partake, dog, but I do. Let me get those chocolates. And I'm like, bro, all right, because I don't know anything about them, like
yeah,
nothing. He sitting up there and we're like in my like office and we're like taking them like normal. I don't know about dosages or she didn't give me any instructions. My
oh
man
man,
sitting up there like killing it, right? Then all of a sudden, homie's gone. Dude is gone. He's gone. Like this is my first time ever seeing somebody like it's not high. Like it's
stone,
past high stone. Like this
stone,
is my
yeah, it's a
first time
difference.
witnessing somebody stone.
Yeah,
And like homie had left Earth. He was done. And I'm sitting there laughing at him because I don't know how serious this is because I've never even experienced it. And like he stopped, he forgot how to breathe. Like he said he forgot how to breathe. And I was
yeah,
like, how once again, it's not affecting me yet. Dude finally leaves because his homie comes and picks him up. I get a call from his homie, and his homie's like, "Bro, what you give my man?" I was like, "Hold on, dog. I don't like your tone, bro." Because I'm like, "You making it sound like I gave your man drugs."
right.
Homie was running up Peachtree Street in Atlanta, Georgia, without no clothes on, bro. And the man, so his man was panicking. He was like, we finally got him. We pinned him down in the shower. He was like, we got towels on him. And I'm sitting up here like, once again, this stuff hasn't affected me yet.
Yeah,
And I'm sitting up there like, he just can't handle his stuff.
yeah. I mean, it could be a
And
lot.
then I'm with
Well,
my
there's more.
sister in the car because I'm talking to his homie on the phone, being like, yo, telling my sister, I'm like, yo, Jay running up the street butt naked. Then it's hits me. And this is my first time where something ever hit me that hard, like abruptly. This is my first edible experience. And like, I don't want to panic because I don't want my sister to panic. And I'm sitting in the car, and then it was just like the worst headache I've ever had just overcomes me, dog. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I know what's happening. And like, so I tell my sister, I was like, yeah, I think I got like a migraine. Let's go home. Bro,
Headache.
I get home when I tell you like I cut off everything and I'm laying on my back and it feels like my bed is like rotating and it's just like my body feels like lead. I eventually over the years have learned to like enjoy that type of high. But when you don't know what's going on, it's crazy. But I
Yeah.
want to speak on like how I feel like it unlocks deeper chambers of my artistry.
Hmm.
And this was very prominent for me a couple of years ago. I want to say 2021, once again in Jamaica, because Jamaica is a portal. And um, we just had a really great expedition. I had an amazing model, I had an amazing team. We had an acai bar that's down the hill from where we stay, and I didn't know that Rasta who runs the spot had shaved off shrooms in my acai bowl. So I had already had two gummies. Um, then my makeup artist, her boyfriend called him Tony the Tiger because he got mad energy and he'd be bouncing all over the wall. He had gave me some chocolates, and these chocolates were amazing. And I'm sitting there because I have this super high tolerance. I'm thinking I could take all this stuff. We go down for a bonfire and it activates like boom.
Yeah.
Then I just like I locked in with my model, man. And I finally went back to like my core is I'm doing God's work as a fashion photographer. My models, they are God incarnate, right? I am their priest. I'm there to witness them.
Heard that.
Um, my photographs are a testament to their glory. My photographs are a testament to their power. That's all I'm doing is creating images to stimulate my people, to motivate them out of this false illusion that they're walking around in. Fashion photography is holy to me because my mentors told me that he who controls the media controls the minds of the people. So fashion photography is media. Remember, like I said, when I first got started, there were no representatives other than Naomi Campbell and like Tyra Banks when I first started out. That has changed in 20 years. I have been a part of that. And so when I was on that beach in Jamaica, it was like it allowed me to get out of my own way to hear God speaking. So when God came to me on that beach and told me to behold and humble myself, it told me to humble myself from 20 years of thinking that I had this thing figured out. God
Mm,
came back to me and was like, all right, you've been doing it for 20 years, but what have you to say for yourself? And I'm like, look, I've been all around the world. I've worked with the most amazing, talented people. I've curated incredible stories. And that high is still like, I ain't tell you to do all that.
mm.
And so I'm like, well, what did you tell me to do then? Because like I thought that I was doing what you told me to do.
And you're doing this as you're thinking about this as you're photographing, as you're taking
No,
these photos?
no, that the shoot, it started during the shoot.
Okay, okay, okay.
And I ended up on the beach by myself after, like directly after the shoot, because I'm
Okay,
still
okay.
like,
Yeah.
and like it's God is still speaking to me, but God is me, right?
Yep.
So
Thanks to you, I read that book. You sent me a list of books, and I literally started from the top, and I finally understood that.
any book, any holy book is gonna tell you the same thing. It's gonna tell you the same thing. You are God. So the experience is telling me is like, no, I created you to create your own industry. You're too caught up in their industry. Their industry is weird. They have agendas that
Yeah.
aren't for you, you know? And I'm like, well, I tried that. I tried creating my own magazines. My own
Hmm.
people attacked me about it, because I was naming them Oludumare. They were like, oh, there's only one Jesus. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Oludumare was around way before you came up with Jesus' name. And I'm like, I'm trying to show you Christ in you, and you want to look outside of you.
Yeah.
So my models, they didn't get it when I was trying to tell them, like, I'm like, you're God. I'm just witnessing you. There's only one God. I'm like, all right, yo, I'm tired of trying to convince you of who you are. I'll just show it to you. So then I learned to be still and
Mm.
shut up. Let the images speak for them, you know? And so, like, during this episode in Jamaica, it's like, it's reminding me why I shoot the way I shoot, why I don't have to play their game. And that's scary because when your mind, your first mind, your conscious mind is telling you, you got to play the game, you got to get the money, you can't take care of your family if you don't play the game. But I'm God, you know? Like, I'm going to sit up there and know that I am the most high experiencing itself as Shamayim Shakaro, but then I sit around and say, I got to play their game. That's weird energy to me. I'm like, I'm being hokey pokey with myself. So
Mm.
an unstable mind, that's a double-minded. Wait, what does it say? It says a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. So I can't sit up there and say that I know that I'm God, but I'm also going to sit up there and say that I play by the laws of man. Not that's not. Come
Doesn't
on.
work that way.
I've had a Lamborghini, a Aventador SV with no top, the first one in the entire country of France, brother. And I was driving that joint up under the Eiffel Tower. Black man, camera, bro.
Yeah.
A camera, bro. I just left a penthouse from the New Yorker Hotel, bro. The penthouse, bro. New Yorker Hotel, one of the most iconic little landmark signs in the city. This black boy from the South, bro, had the penthouse, dog. I had my homies up in him, bro. We up there smoking weed up under the New Yorker sign, dog. I used to sleep in my car in New York, bro, because all my money was going towards the studio rentals, dog. So it's like the weed reminds you. Now, we ain't talk about humbling yourself for anybody else. It's saying humble yourself to your purpose, humble yourself to your mission. And so when you do that, all things come to you. You don't have to play their game. Bro, my dream car, a Mercedes McLaren SLR, dog. It was $1 million car, dog, back in the early 2000s, dog. It was $1 million back then, dog. I'm talking about one of the rarest vehicles in the world, dog.
How
A
much is it now?
model hits me up randomly, dog, in the middle of the night. It's like, Shaman, can you get to Lakeland, Florida? I have your dream car, bro. A camera, dog. So when people sit up there and tell me like they don't, like they abandoned the journey because they couldn't make a lot of money. They abandoned the journey because illnesses, family. Oh, I understand, but you're going to hate yourself at the end of the day if you don't endure. I'm not saying that you don't have to do like you're going to have to make some sacrifices as men, as people, whatever. But it's like what Oprah said. She said, "I would work two jobs to do this job of hosting her talk show." She would work two other jobs to be able to do what she was created to do. So that meant back then in 2005, 2006, 2007, I was doing $25 to $50 photo shoots so that I could continue to be a fashion photographer.
Yeah.
I was humbled enough to sit up there and be like, whatever. All right, this designer, she designs all these bags. She tells me all she has is $250. She wants me to shoot her campaign. How am I gonna flip this $250 to make it 2,500? That's how I saw it because I went into the industry as a business professional.
Right.
First, I thought about the business first. I branded Shamayim first. Photographers are running out here thinking that their skills and their talents are going to win. It's not, brother. There's too many talented guys out there. Tons of talented photographers out there, but there's only one Shamayim.
So
Now that
what are
would
some of the what do you
hmm?
think are some of the trade-offs that you've had to do?
I ain't traded
Um,
off nothing, brother.
no,
Um,
for your independence. Because you said early on that you had to cut, you cut a tie for financially, but like on
oh,
the other
peace of
side, you had to.
mind. That was the compromise. That was the expense that I had to pay. That
What
was the
was it?
sacrifice. Peace of mind.
Peace of mind.
Yeah, because in the creative entrepreneurial field, we get super high highs and super low lows
Hmm.
economically. 1 month, I got a contract for Netflix. You talking $60,000 right there. You've never seen that much money at one time, right? So you get the $60,000. Then you may not see it, and I'm not. This is not what actually happened. I'm just giving you a scenario using situations that have happened. But $60,000 1 month, you're on a high. You're thinking it's going to be like that coming up too. Nah, it may be 8 more months before you get paid again. You don't know. Every client is a blessing. But when you're like having it high and you're like booking jobs, bam, 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 every other month it's another client, you're on another flight, you're on business class, you're shooting another supermodel, you're thinking that that is going to be sustainable. It is not. You literally have to orchestrate every job, negotiate every contract to cover your next 8 months that you are going to be completely blind. You don't know. That's why it's so important to learn the business end of it and to come into it as a businessman or woman first and as a creative second, because the creativity is not going to sustain you. Having a business minded direction is me looking at myself as a brand before social media was even a thing. That has been substantial. I've been trying to teach that to young black fashion photographers my whole entire career. They drop the ball because they don't understand that developing yourself as a brand is a full-time job within itself.
Yeah.
And so I say one of the sacrifices of peace of mind is because that peace of mind kicks in when you're like, all right, I've stepped out into the public space and everybody thinks I am this guy. the guy that drives the Lambos in Paris, the guy that lives in the penthouse over Manhattan, the guy who has like the supermodel girlfriend. You got to maintain it because you put yourself out there like that, right?
Right.
So if one day you decide, because you haven't booked a client in, let's say, a year, that's a real thing, by the way. You can go a year without booking clients. So you realize I've gone a year, I can't sustain the image of this character that I portrayed.
Mm-hmm.
As a man, it hits differently. I can't speak as a woman, so I'm only giving this perspective as a man. Not to say that the ladies don't have their own experience, because I'm certainly they do. But as a man, you got that pressure because your girl looking at you weird because she started dating this guy. So who is this guy?
Right.
Because you introduced yourself as this guy, right? You were
Mm-hmm.
cocky. So funny thing is that I have been on both ends of the spectrum. I just never allowed the public to ever see that side. People will be like, "Hey, Shemine, where are you living? What are you talking about, son? Of course, I'm over there and da 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 da." They were like, "Oh, damn, you still in Manhattan?" Yep.
Yep.
I was in
Yep.
Brooklyn, but I let everybody think that I was still in Manhattan for years. I was in Brooklyn, in Bed-Stuy. And then I fell in love with Brooklyn. And at that point, because I had been to Jamaica. So at that point, I was seeing things lighter.
Mm.
I feel like the flower allowed me to introduce myself to me, to Bruce Wayne. I didn't realize
I,
that I was on Batman time 24/7 because I really am Batman. But I needed time to be my alter ego. I needed time to be Bruce Wayne sometimes too, because sometimes that cape and cowl got heavy. I didn't even realize it because I had been wearing it all the time. So when you smoke and it allows you to relax,
yeah.
and in that relaxing, it was like, you know what? I love Brooklyn. I
Mm-hmm.
love my neighbors. I love my culture over here. It's my hometown more than Atlanta is. Even I was born in Atlanta, but I kind of feel like I became who I am in Brooklyn, New York. All
Which
right.
is funny because when you bring that around to what you said at the beginning, it was like, yo, these guys are weird. And now you're saying, as you grew up, you're like, actually, this ain't
No,
bad.
nah, that's not it. The
No?
fashion industry dudes in New York, they're weirdos. I'm not talking
Oh,
about them. But see, that's the thing. When I moved to Brooklyn, I realized, oh, I wasn't around New Yorkers. Manhattan's not
okay.
New Yorkers. I mean, Harlem is not Manhattan. Harlem is Harlem, right?
Okay.
I'm talking about where fashion people are in Manhattan. Those aren't real people. They're avatars of some goofy idea of what they think the industry is like. But when I was in Brooklyn, my neighbors just saw Shamayim. Like they didn't care like about no fashion photography. They see me walking outside in all leather in the summertime. They're like, there go this guy. Look at this nigga. But it was like Brooklyn is all about being yourself. So your neighbors will sit there and joke on you, but they like when you come out fly, they let you know you came out fly. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? You see, because like Brooklyn is just smoking, being confident and calm in my own personal space, and the confidence that Brooklyn gave you to just be like, bro, they literally look at you and be like, son, don't nobody care, dog. Like, you really think that everybody is watching you all the time, especially when you're in Manhattan. Like, you really got this, I'm like the star of the show type thing. And you are in your own mind, but don't nobody be checking for you like that. And so
Hmm.
when you start smoking, especially like, cause me, like, what is it, indica, right? I'm indica, right? Like calm, right?
Yep.
That's my thing.
Yep.
It allowed me to just chill out and be like, you know what? If I don't want to wear leather today and I want to just wear a oversized black hoodie and sweatsuit, I'm gonna rock that joint today with some combat boots. And then I went through a whole period of just being casual as Shemayim. I was wearing like sweats and everything, and I didn't realize that it was literally like I feel like the weed just made me too comfortable.
Nah, I mean, like you said, it allows you to open up the portals, and it's individual per person. But once you find
But I
what works
needed
for
that
you,
phase though. That phase is what allowed me to understand that I was taking myself too seriously.
okay, Okay.
always on set with a very curated sound list of mood music, but I never wanted them to listen to what I actually listened to.
Yeah, I
I
remember that
wanted them
phase
to,
of Shemayim. Yeah, I was there for a
yeah,
little bit
it was always
there.
them listening to what the version of Shamayim that I wanted the public to have was, you know?
Right. The Bruce Wayne that went to work.
Exactly, right? Like, but tragedy and having like, because weed was a big part of my healing part process of like the tragedy of when my dad transcended. It allowed me to understand that there's no duality, there's
Mhm.
just oneness. So I thought there was like shadow Shemayim and then sun god Shemayim,
Yeah.
but it's just one. And so like I knew that I would have burned the world down like when I was going through my dark period, my shadow period, had like I not had that calmness that I feel like
The plant
that
provides.
we yeah.
Yeah.
But it I feel like it was almost like a therapist through it. But the therapist is you.
Hmm.
It allows you to speak to yourself, and it allowed me to see like it's okay to not just go out into this world. Because remember, I told you in Jamaica, it told me it was like, yo, I was created to create my own industry.
Yep.
So we started reminding me of how to create my own industry through a process of about 2 years until the tragedy happened last year. And then, so all this year, I feel like through my therapy with an actual human therapist and also what I call like my plant based therapy,
Yeah. It's real.
it allowed me to speak to repressed parts of myself creatively to understand how to come back out and create that publication that I always knew that I was supposed to create
Hmm.
and the audience that it's for. It gave me the insight on how to reintroduce my my brand as Shamayim as a fashion photographer more authentically. So I got rid of my personal page because I felt like I was hiding behind my personal page. I was putting all of my real stuff in that little private corner.
Of the
And
right.
then Shamayim, my actual photography page, it just became a portfolio. And that's
Right.
not what social media is about. Social media is about being social. So it told me it was okay and safe to introduce the world to Shemayim, the person, and not just the work. So
It
even in
sounded like
my
the flower allowed you to become more of who you are, and it gave you more of a mirror when those times where you didn't really know that there was a mirror there, like you you ingested the cannabis, your body was able to relax, thoughts were able to open up, and now when you're in an environment that says, hey man, like we love you who you are, and you're like, damn bro, like you guys actually do kind of, even if it could just be you, it's like, yo, like I can receive love and actually be cool with this. And if I want to wear this in the summer, I'm gonna wear it in the summer. And I don't have to hide who I was based off of who I want to be.
but the blessing is also because I feel like I experienced cannabis in my own time.
Right.
A lot of people are peer pressured into it early on. I thought because I was, I'm raised down south. We was raised that was devil grass.
Yeah.
So, like, and I'm
Rabbit
not
weed.
talking about just down south. Like, I was born Southern Christian Baptist. Come on, like my grandma was like, that's the devil's grass.
Right.
We didn't know our parents smoked weed when they were younger. We, whatever. But so I was a super grown man. I'm in my 30s when I'm first experiencing it, and so I'm so grateful that I had experienced it because when tragedy hit and the people who you thought were going to be there weren't, it's like the cannabis is like, nah, they're not there, but I am. And it's not talking to, but it's not talking about itself. It's talking about you,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, like I'm sitting there like I have one of my very favorite heirlooms and totems is my grandfather's leather chair, right?
Okay.
When I was a baby, my grandfather would get his glass of brown, whatever it was. He'd sit back in his black leather chair. He put his like record on the record player. We didn't know Grandpa was getting drunk. We just thought Grandpa was happy. So my cousin
Yeah.
and I, we're like
Oh,
little
he
babies
was.
playing at his feet. No, he wasn't. I didn't know that my grandpa was drinking from a broken heart.
Ah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
So I got Grandpa's chair now. Now I may not have that brown liquor, but I have the cannabis and I have my music. And I could sit there like Grandpa, when Grandpa was sitting there in that chair figuring it all out. Because when Grandpa got out of that chair, Grandpa was happy. He was smiling. He was playing with his grandkids. He was good. He figured it out in that chair. Whatever it was, Grandpa figured it out in that chair. It probably at the bottom of that glass. Mine comes to me about five sessions in, five in, right? But people don't understand like the power of the environment.
Yeah.
I've created within the last year. I created all of my places into temples. My office is a temple. The studio I'm building is built to be a temple. It's
Hmm.
sacred, not for the world. It's sacred for Shemayim. You know, so cannabis to me because it started out as sacred on that rooftop with that roster, doing what I love.
Catching stars.
It's still sacred medicine for me.
Yeah.
I don't do it recreationally because I'm trying to escape. I get it. I can easily see why people use it to escape. I actually use it to go deeper because it allows me to get out of my own way of thoughts. It allows me to get the other people out of my head too. Because a lot of times, like you're talking to your good friend is wise, but your good friend hasn't had your experiences. You need to talk to yourself, you
Hmm.
know, and so it allows you to do that, because it quiets the other thoughts that come in and try to impose their wishes or their ideas upon you. Because a lot of times we're not really living our truth, man. A lot of the times we're living everybody else's truth, especially as men, and we don't want to talk about it, but we're living our girlfriends or our wives' truth, the man or version that they want us to be, or in the industry. With me, this was my story. It was like I always wanted to represent black men like up here. I never wanted to like drop the ball on us, and I'm like, that's not my weight to carry.
Hmm.
You know, you get high, you start realizing that crap. You sit up there and come out of that. Well, I come out. I can't speak for everybody else. I'm not encouraging nobody else because my experience is my experience. I come out of that thing thinking like, no, that's not my weight to carry. The only weight I got to carry is my brick of creation.
Yeah.
That's all the universe is asking for is my one brick of creation that I give. That's my life.
Yeah.
You know, are the images that I'm creating making people feel good? Do little young girls who sit over there in Sierra Leone, do they get to that internet cafe and log on to Instagram and see these photos of women that look like them and think, I can get my ass out of poverty.
I can get
Look
my
at
ass
how
out this
beautiful
state.
she is.
You
You know what
know.
I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I need that little young photographer who doesn't realize that he's a photographer yet because he lives in the projects and his family just keeps telling him he has to go and get this safe 9 to 5 job, but he don't want to do that. But I want him to be able to see a legendary life and be like, all right, if he did it, I can do it. You know what I mean? Like, so that's the one brick, you know? And to be a good enough influence in my own circle to where that can be a ripple effect. You know what I mean? I had to learn not to be a nice guy. I had to learn to not be a safe guy. I had to learn not to be like that, to be harmless. Because
Hmm.
a lot of times we as black men, we feel like we got to be harmless out here to not pose a threat. I'm
Yeah.
dangerous as hell, son. I'm
Yeah, and
super dangerous, bro.
it's
Like,
dangerous and addictive at the same time. You know,
we're
because if you're
dangerous
not,
because we're artists, bro. Because when we imagine reality differently, we can create it. like that.
Mm.
You know, like if I sit up there and be like, nah, y'all, this is corny. I want to see a black queen as president of the United States. I literally could pick my camera up, go hit up a model, have her come by, and I just created that right there. You know, and people could be like, well, I can do that in AI. Nah, it ain't the same, son. You can create a rough draft of it in AI.
Right.
It ain't nothing like you seeing a living, breathing soul representing a dream manifested. That's what fashion photography does for me. You know what I'm saying? I had taken 30 black people to Egypt. I had them on camelback
Camels.
in front
Yeah,
of the
bro.
Great Pyramids, huh? You know what I mean? Like creating their own versions of reality.
Hmm.
I've had photographers out, black photographers out in Iceland on black sand beaches with whales breaching the ocean, dog, right in front of us while we're doing a photo shoot. Black men out there creating realities. We don't know how far these images are going to go, who they're inspiring, what seeds they have become. You know,
Hmm.
we don't know if it's just that one image of that dark skinned girl with the curly hair, you know, with the strong legs, with that scarification. We don't know what that's going to do in 50 years when we take her photograph, you know?
True.
Or when I go to the actual Amazon rainforest and actually photograph Amazonian women in Brazil instead of the Giselle whitewashed Germanic versions of Brazilians.
Yeah.
You know, so when I sit up there and be like, I'm a priest, dog. I'm not just a priest, bro. I'm a keeper, dog. Every one of us as creatives, you know, like a Chinese fashion photographer, he is a keeper of their culture, bro.
Hmm.
That is an honor. You know what I mean? That Vietnamese photographer, same thing. Venezuelan photographer, same thing. Y'all are a keeper of y'all culture. I'm not telling Vogue to stop putting white women on the cover of Vogue, dog. Keep at it. Y'all ain't got no Vogues in Africa. Keep at it. Because you all are a keeper of your culture.
Right.
You all are supposed to glorify your women because that glorifies the culture.
Right.
All I'm saying is, black men, get out of your own way, spark one up, smell that joint, inhale that joint, get out of your own way, talk to your brothers about getting together and seeing how we can put all our gifts together and actually do what the term collaboration actually is supposed to do. It don't
Hmm.
mean, yo, give me your free services. But like, if my brother is a fashion designer and I'm a fashion photographer and I got another brother that's a filmmaker and he has another brother that's an editor, who the hell are we to not get together and just do dope stuff?
Right.
You know
It
what I
seems so
mean?
hard though. It seems
Like,
so
so you
difficult.
got a member in your crew who you know he ain't got no money. Every crew gonna have one. He got a camera though, you know? Like if I know I make more money than the other homie, I'm not looking at the other homie to invest as much in the project financially as I can. You know what I mean? But we
Mm.
get in our own way because we don't want to be honest with each other and be like, we all trying to sit up there and walk around like, you know, I make $1 billion a year, dog. And I'm like, it's okay to be in a safe place with your brothers and be like, yo, I got an idea, but I ain't got all the dough. You
Hmm.
just never know. Your brother may be like, yo, we ain't got that dough either, but I think we can figure it out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that more black men need to get together and actually have like dialogue sessions where y'all, hopefully all y'all smoke. If not, you know, whatever y'all thing is to get out of your own way. Because I don't say to get the weed to loosen your tongue. I say to get the weed to get out of your own way so that you can speak freely,
Yeah.
to get the ideas, let the ideas flow. Because I know that I was in my own way for the majority of my career because I always wanted to come across like I was sounding elegant, like I was sounding professional and blah, blah, blah. Man, I was, but I wasn't sounding honest.
Yeah. I think I've
And so,
I've been feeling that more recently of getting to the point where it's like, yo, like I can't keep hiding who I am in hopes that this is going to work out. When even if it works out, it can still not work out after the fact. You know what I mean? So I might as well
And
just
that's
be who I
okay.
am.
That's why, like, after this year of healing that I've gone through, I've learned to screw plans. I was a plan guy, you know, I had all these plans, 5 year plan, 10 year plan. That's all bogus, dog. Universe don't give a fuck about your plans, son. I learned that joint, dog. I learned it the hard way, dog. I had
Yeah.
plans on my dad being at my wedding and walking with my children. Like, come on, universe was like, what you gonna do now? So I learned to do away with all plans and embrace intentions,
Mm.
you know? And I've also learned to stop fighting when people try to tell me stuff I don't agree with. That I expose so much energy saying that they're trying to convince people, and I just be like, yo, let it be. Who are we trying to convince? And I feel like that's because I have morning sessions. So I be calm. I
Right.
get out of my own way. I don't let stuff stress me. I
Yeah.
go back to my mantra, bro. Not my stress, dog. I'm living legendary, bro. I ain't got no. It's not my stress. When people try to tell me stuff, I be like, I will see. We'll see.
Yeah.
And because I flow like that, stuff will come to me effortlessly now, dog. Ask the people who are around me. They'll tell you. I don't be worrying about where the next client coming from. I know that next client coming.
Mm.
Before, like I'm telling you, will go months, long periods of you just doubting yourself. Cause you know, by that third month, you start to be like, yo, like, is my work like sucking? Like when I switch from like flash to constant lights, like were they just not feeling it? Like what? Is it me? No, it's not you. It's just fluctuations.
Yeah.
Every day is the same day. Think about that. Every day is the same day. What if, forget the calendar, what if there is no Tuesday, Wednesday? What if just every day you just Groundhog Day?
Hmm.
And you just determine how different you make it based upon when you wake up in that morning, the vibration that you, before I would wake up thinking like, I have not had a client in 3 months. Like, why is that the first thing I'm thinking about?
Yeah. As soon as
That's
you wake up the
crazy
next.
talk.
Yeah.
It's paranoia. But
Yeah.
that was my thing is like, well, that's being real. That's reality. And I'm looking at my bank account or whatever, you know, and I'm like, I got all this coming up. I got this, and I'm told these people I'm doing this. And I'm looking at my phone like it's evidence of reality. I knew then I had to stop talking to certain people. No, that is weird energy. Like I told you, bro, I was sitting up in my crib and this guy just called me and was like, Shemai, I have your dream car. If you can get to Lakeland, Florida, just I had to get back to that frequency where I'm just expecting miracles, dog, all the time. But because I'm calmer now, my nervous state was it was crazy. I know
Yeah.
that darn flower, that cannabis helps with that. I know it. That's
Yeah.
medicine,
Yeah.
bro. I know it. I'm not on their pills, bro. I don't want their pills, bro.
Yeah.
When I know that this naturally grown plant has calmed my nervous system and it's allowed me to not punch a bunch of goofy dudes in the face.
Like, you know
Like,
what? Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Let me tell you this too, though. So just so you can go further in your search and understanding of the plant. So there's sativa, indica, as you know. So you got sativa is gonna be your daytime. You got indica is gonna be your nighttime. So, but inside of that, those are basically just categories, right? So the category that equals indica, the thing that you're looking for that's gonna calm you, mostly is gonna be something called caryophyllene. It's just think of carry, and it's basically going to be flavor profile kind of similar to like lemon pepper. So you'll
mm,
get like some like really it literally goes to your nervous system and it tells you to relax. It doesn't give you a high. It just makes you relax. So
nice.
if you're like, okay, well, I have to be active, but I don't want to be like, I don't want to smoke something that's going to like make me like go to sleep, and I don't want to smoke something that's going to make me
Right,
like
right.
not want to work. You want to look for something high in caryophyllene, and then like if you were like saying like, all right, well, I want something that's going to make me more relaxed, but like I don't want to be, or I want something that's going to make me more high, but not like super relaxed. The other thing is called myrcene. So Mary and Carrie. I don't know. I just made that up.
Are
But
those natural?
yeah, yeah, they're
Okay,
naturally
sweet.
inside of the strain. And a lot of these terpenes are everywhere. They're not strictly to cannabis. Caryophyllene is also in black pepper. Sometimes if you get like too high, you can actually um, grind up some black pepper and kind of just like woof it a little bit, and it actually will calm you down.
Mm,
Um, Limonene, which you since you like indica, you probably won't find too often, but it's inside of lemons. There's another terpene called Lilanol, which is inside of lavender, which is also something that can help you like relax. Like they're not specific to cannabis. The thing is, when the growers in the past were growing weed, they just needed some ways to categorize. Like, okay, there's a really big plant, so over 6 feet, sativa. Okay, this is a small plant, little chubby, indica. But because there wasn't a lot of research to be done, um, by the time it came to the streets, it just made it easy just to keep those names. But now you just have this huge, broad, spectrum of plants, and like when you look at them like when you look at them as like data points, you wouldn't be able to tell what is indica or sativa. Like it's just what we use to classify it. It's like saying, okay, this is a car. It's like, okay, what
right.
type of car? Well, you got this car, you got that car, but like, it's a car. That's basically what we did with the industry. Um, but all right, bro, we are almost at the end here, bro. Man, I really appreciate you for this, in more ways than this podcast because you doing what you did allowed me to see what I could do more. You know what I mean? I used to take photos or screenshots. I'll send you some that you used to have in your phone, like for like the dear photographer and dear models and dear industry, as a way to find out where I can move forward in my path. And even when we first met, you're like, dude, you're not a fashion photographer. You're a food photographer. And I was trying to fight that so hard because I never saw. Of course, in hindsight, I could have just. I mean, I'm still doing it now, but whatever. Like I didn't see fashion. I didn't see food photography as a career. I didn't know if it was fashion either. But I saw a black man traveling the world who made it a career. So I was like, okay, well maybe that'll be dope. So that it kind of just kept going from there. And our first expedition, which actually is in Puerto Rico, and for me, Puerto Rico is the first place in my life, and I've been able to travel the world, and we travel the world together. But Puerto Rico is a place that I quite literally feel like something comes off of my body, and my body is like, oh, we're here. And I,
Yeah.
I have not been able to recreate that feeling. I've been to Japan, we've been to Europe, Alaska, and going back there and then meeting you for the first time was just like fantastic. So I appreciate your grind, your hustle, and then coming to the point where you're smoking a lot more to realize, because when I met you, you weren't smoking at all. You were like,
Right.
what are you talking about? I remember we were in Europe. I'm over here
Mhm.
trying to find some weed, and all they had was hemp. And you like, I'm sitting outside smoking the back. I'm like, yo, it's legal. You like shunning me and shit. Like, go to the front of the house. I'm in the back. I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that this plant, almost seems to have its own personality. It's like, yo, man, like, okay, you don't want THC? All right, cool, I'll give you THCA, you Delta 8. It seems to listen to what the body needs for you to ingest it and get what it can give you. So, I appreciate you for taking that journey, dog, because it's what I want people to see in the hidden creation as a brand. It's not just about getting high and doing nothing. You can be
Right.
functional. You don't have to be stoned. You don't have to have 50 milligrams. Some of my next videos to showcase how you can have a whole dinner off of 1 gram. Weed is
Yep.
100% stronger than what it was 10 years ago. That I think that from what I see now, the average cannabis is for 1 gram is about like 25, 26%, no matter if it's THC in the medical state or THCA in a hemp state. Like it 26% is almost 200, not even almost, it's 260 milligrams, from
I
one.
do 8 hour shoot sessions after smoking. So
Yeah.
when people sit up there and try to say that, weed has it to where they're not productive, maybe they need to find what works for them. I found what works for me. Like I said, it does not affect my energy levels at all. It actually allows me to be much more present, much more
Hmm.
pleasant, and much more, I want to say, calm on
Yeah.
set, especially when dealing with other people. Because dealing with other personalities, like a thing that's a challenge for me.
Hmm.
But when I tell you, after I've already hit it like once or twice right before the session, I'm mellow, I'm cool. I actually way, 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 way more. What's the term I want to say? I'm more open to them
Yeah.
and compassionate to the fact
Before
that
you
yo,
like,
you may just be like goofy, but there's a reason why you're goofy, so I can have a little bit more patience with you now, rather than just being like you goofy. I don't want to deal with you. Like
it
it helps,
helps.
and I know it probably sounds like I've already smoked today. I haven't. It's just when I tell you like when it becomes part of your your lifestyle,
Hmm.
it kind of flows over. Like I'm a calmer man now, just period. Well, I started 10 years ago, whereas then now I want to say within the last 2 years is when I started smoking daily.
Hmm.
I'm way more calmer now. And anybody who knows me will tell you I am way, way, way more calmer in my mind and in my body as well. Even like before I work out,
Yeah.
because I usually when we're working out, our minds are going to problems because we're trying to work out against our stress. I don't want to work out against my stress. I want to work out to feel better. I want to work out to look better. I want to work out so that my energy is higher, not to beat stress. I don't give a fuck about stress. If I smoke before I work out, I'm actually more present in my body. I'm
Yeah.
actually not sitting up there counting my reps. I'm actually enjoying them, enjoying
Yeah.
the challenge. So I feel like you said, there's trends for different things. And I feel like those people who are like me, who are older when they're getting into it, should allow themselves a little bit of leeway to experiment instead of just having one experience with it and being like, it's this.
Right.
I make that mistake. It is not. It's just like how you said, different things for different things. You
Yeah.
know, and
Do you have a favorite strain, or pen,
um,
or you just like indica?
I have the one that I like the oil that I put together, and
Okay.
I put that in the vape. But I don't recommend it.
My God.
It's had nothing but bad results with everybody outside of me.
Okay.
Um, it works for me because it's strong enough for me to actually be like, yeah, I feel it.
How strong is it?
Everybody else who has tried it, because I'm really working on creating one that I'm going to brand. Like that is just specific for two brands actually. Shamayim is going to have one, and then my brand Chikaro is going to have one.
Hmm.
The Shamayim one that I'm been working on this last year is for creatives, like
Okay.
creatives who are connected to their spirituality, who want to work in that high and don't want it to like go to sleep, or they don't want it
Right.
for escapism. They want it for the flow of creativity.
Heard.
That's
Heard.
what I like.
That's
Um,
strong.
I want them to be able to take it, and I want them to feel present and anchored to where they are. Not all. Some weed has you flying all over the universe. I call it the rainbow road. That's not a good weed to work off of for a creative,
Hmm.
because when you come down, you're gonna be like, that's not what I was going for.
Yeah.
It looks cool, but it's not what I was going for. Because I don't know about. I'm not talking about hobbyists. I'm talking about professionals out there who are working. If you want to work like and get paid for your job, like
Hmm.
me, I got hired as a fashion photographer for an assignment, but I want to be present. I want to be really in a good energy and vibration for the client, because sometimes the client's moods and attitudes may be all over the place, but I want to be nice and balanced and dancing around on set like I like to do. but I don't want to be feeling like too relaxed because you don't want to be that guy either. So the
Right.
strand is just like for those professional creatives who want to be present, who want to be anchored in their body, but also like flooded with their creative chemistry just being released throughout their body. But how? Why are they doing it?
Do you have a favorite dish that you eat when you're high?
I don't understand what has happened with my body makeup, but I haven't been getting munchies. And I hate that. I miss that because
You miss.
I love getting munchies because that's how I was gaining weight because I usually don't have an appetite for food. Like
Okay.
a lot of people are like, oh, I'm a foodie. I'm not. I'm a fashion photographer. I get my rocks off of that. People get their rocks off of food. I get mine off of fashion.
Yeah.
So I don't think about food like that. Sometimes food is a distraction to me. Do I love food? I love food as an experience.
Hmm.
I want that thing to be curated. I like the mood to be nice. I like nice ambiance. I'll settle for mediocre food if the ambiance is like up here. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Do you
And
have a favorite?
I also settle for a trashy looking place if like the food is up here, but my experience is up here because of the food. You know, I'm all about experience. So like when I did get the munchies, I was just eating whatever,
What's
and I
that?
like that.
I want that.
I missed that because I was gaining weight when I was going to work out. I actually had the weight on me to work it. I don't get munchies anymore. I think it's because the strand that I have, it just doesn't do
Yeah.
that.
You
But I
probably
was
don't have
also
the terpene in it. You'll find
probably
some of that in if you look for lemon lean, you'll find that. Uh, Sometimes there's a terpene called beta caryophyllene, and it's mixed with another terpene called humulene, which actually suppresses hunger. So if you're smoking indica and those happen to be inside of the strain,
interesting.
um,
Probably
that's just possible. Yeah,
when I was smoking Mellow Fellow, um, which is more commercially available, I was getting munchies off of those.
yeah.
So
Okay.
maybe it is a strain because when I'm on mine, I don't have any munchies whatsoever.
Yeah, it's probably just the terpenes inside of it. Do you have a favorite movie or show that you like watching? Like when you're done, just finished smoking, I'm in the bed, or I am done.
I don't even watch anything when I smoke. I love the feeling of it so much. Like I literally like I have a spot, man. Like I built a spot in my office. The same chair I was telling you about, that black leather chair, it's in my
Yeah,
office. It's against this huge aquarium that I have, and the aquarium I have up is built. It's beautiful. I literally would smoke, hit the lights on my aquarium in the office, and I will zone out into the aquarium. Just zone out. I don't and my
that's
mind is
peace.
just in a very nice place.
Yeah.
And because my aquarium, it has like stones from all of the different places that I've traveled to all over the world.
Wow.
So my aquarium
You pick these
feels,
out yourself, or you
yeah,
bought this
yeah,
somewhere? Okay.
yeah.
Damn.
Please,
That's
U.S. government, don't come at me. They're rocks. I didn't smuggle in no seeds. I didn't smuggle in no plants. They're rocks.
rocks.
And I ain't talking about those rocks. I'm talking about like out of the ground rocks. But not like because it's nature. I'm a water sign. Water always activates my high, like higher.
Yeah,
Um,
that
I
explains
do
it.
okay.
That
So I may
explains
not
that.
have places. I may not have shows that I necessarily go to. I have music though. I have
Okay.
playlists. I have curated playlists just for like my morning sessions, my evening sessions. I have curated playlists for those. But so I may not have a movie, but I have places though
Okay.
that I'll go to specifically. Like I said, that place with my chair, that's like a place that I have that I'm readily available to. I'm one of those guys like Venice, Italy. That's some of the highest
Venice.
high I've ever experienced. Because it's
Venice was
water.
amazing.
It's water everywhere.
Yeah.
So at night, the lights, the water, the bridges, that's some crazy high. I There's another place in North Africa that has buildings shaped like this. That's the best high. Um, Trust me.
I got one more question for you. If you can share smoke with anyone, alive, gone, whomever, who would it be?
Alive,
Or gone?
Oh,
It,
Oregon.
it could be Tupac, you know what I mean? It could be,
All right, so alive or gone. My dad,
your dad.
100%. My dad and I never smoked together.
Yeah,
Like, not at all.
yeah,
I did have a drink with my dad though. That was the best. So
yeah.
I can only imagine what like smoking with dad would have been like. Like that's definitely 100%. I don't even have to think about that.
Yeah, I do find it when you find out later on that your parents smoke and you smoke, I'm like, you got to smoke with your parents. Like
Yep.
it's something that you wait so like no one's like waiting for it, but it's like, oh wait, like you do this,
Right.
like oh we could do this together. This is actually
My
kind of
mom
cool.
and I we did edibles.
Yeah,
But my mom is that's not my dad though. Like my mom was wide open. She's like all about whatever. You know what I mean? Like dad is different. Dad is just like like
yeah, yeah.
so
My
like I
mom,
would have
my mom wasn't really big into cannabis until CBD hemp came out, and then she was
same,
super
same
excited,
thing. Same
super
thing with my
excited.
mom. Same thing with my mom. You know, but it got her into the edibles. It got her into the gummies. Like
Yeah,
the what do you call it? The Delta 8, Delta
the
9s
Delta
and
8,
stuff like that.
which is
So yeah,
crazy because it's internally your body doesn't recognize it any different. So like she could take a THC gummy, just a lower dosage, and it actually affects you the exact same way as Delta 8. Your body
I kind
doesn't.
of mess with the Deltas because like they don't have the smell
Yeah, they're
of
also they're
like the cannabis oils.
when they first came out, they were people in the industry were calling it like THC light, So
It's nothing light about them. I've seen people really messed up on those joints.
yeah, it now
So
they're it's so weird. The industry's weird because they created this loophole, which actually created like a
yes,
really big hole. It's like, wait a
yes.
minute, like, oh, we can kind of get people high, but if we actually just
They
concentrate
weren't
this,
kind of getting high in Georgia, brother. They were high in Georgia, bro.
yeah,
Them Delta 8s, Delta 9s had people skating, dog. Like,
yeah,
now, when people realized it wasn't play weed, then yeah. And then the government changed it again, but like, it's still getting people high out there. So,
yeah, they're trying to get rid of it. But I mean, like in my mind, I mean, for the most part, like weed is pretty much legal, dog. Like it's everywhere. It's Delta 8, Delta 9,
is
THC
there a
zero.
state that doesn't have anything? Like everything is
There are
outlawed?
some states. Yeah, there's some
Okay.
states where there's no medical, no hemp. But I
Oh,
mean,
okay.
like it it's still like it could be. It's still it's it's everywhere, dog.
Right, 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 right.
It's so many places.
I'm just ready for the
Um,
world to go ahead and just let it be open, like the whole world, because the whole flight
I'm really
thing
excited for that.
internationally is not fun.
I'm
Like,
excited. Yeah, no, no, it's not.
I actually just think that it's going to be. I feel like it's already making the world better. It's already dropped the percentage of people who drink alcohol,
Oh yeah,
and the alcoholics are the ones out there killing people. You know what I mean? So it's
the
already
evidence.
reduced that. It's already um, increased the economy in so many different communities. Like, it's a lot of benefits to it. I haven't seen nobody talking about they got in an accident because they were high. I'm sure it
Yeah,
happens,
but
but I could tell you, I heard just the other day that somebody got in an accident because somebody was drunk. That's all I'm saying.
yeah,
That's
I'm
all
I'm
I'm saying.
excited for. I mean, it's probably going. I mean, I know it's going to take some time, but I do believe cannabis is going to get to the level of wine. It might be like way later on
Oh,
in my life,
100. The white
but
women have already started switching over. Like I've seen so many commercials on YouTube with white women advertising shroom gummies,
oh
weed
yeah, oh
gummies,
my gosh, yeah,
like
yeah,
and I was just like, oh wow, they've gotten the attractive white blonde girls doing commercials for weed gummies now. Game time.
yeah. And once
So
weed
yeah,
is able to go into those countries where you can get like a granddaddy perk grown specifically in champagne, like that becomes its own level of class because weed is just going to get cheaper. Yeah,
exactly.
it's too accessible, like at some of these dispensaries down here, they're even doing dime bags now. Like it's crazy. Like what? Like you're really selling a $5? Okay, and then you got another dispensary that'll sell an eighth for like $60, $70. So I mean, like once it becomes legalized, like Amazon's going to be able to just send you weed and fly it to
Yo,
your.
I'm ready for that. I'm so ready for that. Like,
Amazon
I'm
going
so
to fly
ready
you a
for
joint.
Amazon to start delivering. Like same day, please. Like that would be come on, Amazon. Like for real, for real. But like honestly, if anything that I feel like will help artists, creatives, entrepreneurs out there to get out of their head, to get back into their purpose, and I know that cannabis does that, I'm all for it. It's just how I feel about that. And there's nothing hidden about that, hidden creation.
Yes. Yes. All right, bro. We were going to wrap this up.
And
Oh wow,
one second.
that's
We're going to wrap it up in 1 second. So I want to give a shout out to the Hidden Creations because, for one, he's trying to add too humble to shout out himself. That's fine. I'll shout him out. Some of the best products that we've had on some of my what we call vibe nights. This is vibe nights, is essentially where I get a group of guys, girls together who just are mutually spirited in their journeys. We get together. We're usually on a rooftop, someplace exotic, and we vibe out. We have good conversations. Some of the best ones we've ever had were some of the products from Hidden Creations. So what I highly want you guys, well, what I highly recommend, highly recommend, you like that, um, are the gummies. Try their gummies. They got an assortment of flavors. I'm a gummy guy, right? And I'm plant based. The gummies were plant based. I don't know if all of them are, but the ones I had were plant based, and they actually taste good. So I add that because a lot of times you get these gummies, they don't have a really good texture to them. They're kind of mushy because they're lacking the gelatin. They're actually firm, pulse. Firm gummies, they taste good and they actually work, and you don't need to take like two of them like some of those trash gummies out there. Most of you all, I want to say 95% of you guys could probably just take a half of one of those and you're going to be good. If you really like to ride that rainbow road like me, take two. All right, Hidden Creations. I appreciate you guys.
All right, man. And thank you everyone for coming today. Pause. We sat down with my man Shemayim, fashion photographer extraordinaire, world traveler. We've seen how he started from his humble beginnings to where his path has led him now to understand that it's not just who I want to be, but it's who I've been. And cannabis has been something that has helped him prolong that journey. So if this is content that you like, go ahead and follow us, subscribe, like, comment. This is on Speak Highly. We talk about cannabis, food, and photography. And I cannot wait for you guys to see what more we have on to store. So I appreciate you, brother, man. Thank you again,
For
Doug.
sure.
My name is Tarik Sparks. I am a food photographer and cannabis educator. Grab that free guide in the link. It's free.